little girl's room may not be the little girl's room for long, at least in the Pine Tree State. Maine considering a ban on gender-specific school bathrooms. And not just bathrooms. The same principle would apply to locker rooms, sports teams, and school organizations. The State Human Rights Commission says that forcing students into a particular group based on gender, i.e. a girl's bathroom or a boy's bathroom, is discrimination. Mara Keisling is Executive Director of the National Center for Transgender Equality. Mara, thanks so much for being here.
Glad to be here, Megyn.
Okay, so now you are a transgendered person, transitioned from, from male to female, and you think this is a good idea. Tell us why.
Well, I think importantly you need to understand that that's not what the Commission is proposing. That's not what's happening in Maine. There are no proposals to eliminate gender-specific bathrooms or gender-specific sports teams. What the Commission appears to be doing is trying to give tools to teachers and administrators so that they can deal with the growing number of transgender children in their schools, and they can make sure that all the children in the school, including the transgender children, have safe educational learning experiences.
But I mean, I'm looking at the proposal right here, and it says, for example, under no circumstances is it possible to force transgender students to use bathrooms or locker rooms corresponding with their assigned sex at birth. Moreover, transgender students must be permitted to participate in gender-segregated sports in accordance with their gender identity. And it goes on. I mean, but what they're saying is if you have a little boy who feels like he should have been born a little girl, that the schools must allow him to use the little girl's bathroom, the little girl's locker room, and to play on the little girl's sports teams.
Well, if you have what it's saying is if you have a child who was assigned male at birth and that person is legitimately a transgender girl, that yes, they should be treated as transgender girls. All educational and medical consensus now is that the best educational policy is to allow legitimately transgender children to participate fully in school activities and certainly in school facilities.
But you say legitimately transgendered, and it raises two issues for me. Number one, the policy wouldn't require any proof, any medical proof that the child is legitimately, as you put it, transgendered. And number two, you know, what child? This policy kicks in pre-K. I mean, it's for very young children. Preschools, nursery schools, elementary, all the way through to graduate school. What child in preschool is legitimately transgendered?
Well, I'm not a medical expert, so I'm not going to, pass judgment on particular children. But what I will tell you is that the medical consensus and the educational consensus is really clear on this. I think everybody in America knows now that there are transgender people, there are transgender children, and all this. The policies that you're looking at are guidelines that are meant to be tools for educators. But what does this do, Mara, to the other children? I mean, what does it do to the other children if you have, little girls going into their locker room and a boy, a child that looks like a boy child, he may think he's a girl inside, but he looks like a male, comes into the locker room, they're, getting changed. They have to be subjected to that. Is there no sensitivity for everyone other than the transgendered person? Oh, no, absolutely. That's not correct. If you read the proposal, which I might note I got from your website, it does talk about the need to take into consideration the legitimate privacy concerns of all of the children. Now that does include, in fact, the transgender children, but the other children as well. Nobody is suggesting that there should be little boys in the little girls' room. That's just a misunderstanding.
What about on the sports teams?
Well, it's the same thing. A young transgender girl or a transgender high school student should be able to participate in all the school activities.
But you say it so generically, but it's not generic. If you have a little girl who looks like a female and is born a female but thinks she's male inside, you're telling me that now you believe she should be allowed to play on the boys' football team, if that's what she says, and vice versa, that a boy who believes he should be a girl should be able to go participate on the girls' gymnastics team?
Well, again, the way you're framing the questions, you're in a way denying the existence of transgender children. You're saying that a transgender girl is really a boy who thinks he is a girl.
Well, they look like a boy. I mean, listen, I'm not I'm not ripping on the transgendered. I'm saying to have the sensitivity for the other little kids and how confusing that would be for them, and what this would do to sort of the order that we have now in the elementary and the secondary schools. Need a quick answer. I'm up against a hard break.
Sure. Well, the order is really important, but this does not cause that problem. This is really legitimately girls participating as girls, and boys participating as boys, and it's that simple. It has to be done with fairness towards all the students, transgender and not.
All right, Mara, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Megyn.
We'll be right back, folks.